Hi, my name is Christian Waldegrave, Manager of Research at Teekay, and this is our tanker market update for January 2014. Well, the last few weeks have been quite a wild ride for the conventional tanker market, and we've seen tanker spot rates that we haven't seen since the peak of the market in 2008. And it really all started back in November with the VLCCs. Back in November we had very strong Chinese buying of crude oil. In fact, December was a record month for Chinese crude imports at 6.3 million barrels a day. And that was both for seasonal demand, but also some stockpiling ahead of the Chinese New Year, and some new refineries came online in China as well. So we had record crude imports into China. We also had record movements of crude oil from West Africa to the Pacific. And that sucked up a lot of tonnage, particularly VLCCs, but some Suezmaxes going from West Africa trading east. And that gave a bump to VLCC spot rates up to about $40,000 to $50,000 per day. Then into December, what we saw was a series of weather delays, particularly in Europe and in the US Gulf. In Europe, we've seen some quite lengthy delays through the Turkish Straits due to fog and bad weather. Those delays at times have been as much as 8 to 9 days northbound and 7 or 8 days southbound as well. So you've got lots of ships backed up, not carrying cargo or not being able to perform another voyage because they're waiting to go through the Turkish Straits there. And it's been a similar situation in the US Gulf as well. A lot of bad weather up the east coast of Mexico and in the US Gulf region. And again, that's caused vessel delays. And it means that charterers have had to scramble to get new tonnage, and that's pushed the rates up. And we've seen rates go up, as I said, to levels that we've not seen since the peak of the market in 2008. For Suezmaxes, last week the global average was about $80,000 per day. But on some routes, such as Cross-Med, the rates have been as high as $130,000 per day. Similarly, on the Aframaxes, the average last week was about $70,000 per day on a global basis. But again, in certain regions, the US Gulf region and in the Mediterranean, we've seen rates over $100,000 per day. And in fact, for one day earlier this week, the market reports were quoting world scale 380 for Cross-Med, which would have equated to about $180,000 per day. So we've seen some pretty incredible rates. They probably are short-lived. I would think that the rates will come down as some of these weather disruptions clear going into February and then into March. But what it does show is that perhaps the market is tighter than we previously assumed. I think that there is still some oversupply in the tanker market, and I think we will see that through the course of spring and summer, that the rates will come down. But what this recent spike has shown is that the market isn't so oversupplied that when you get these kind of events, these weather disruptions and so on, you can't get this volatility in rates, which pulls up your overall average earnings for the year. So looking ahead to 2014, as I said, I expect that the rates will weaken again going into spring and summer because we do still have a fundamentally oversupplied tanker market, but definitely it's a tightening market. This year we think the tanker fleet will only grow by about 1%, and at the same time global oil demand is creeping up. And we're starting to see more positive reports now on the global economy. The World Bank came out with quite a positive report the other day. And the global forecasting agencies are starting to increase their global oil demand estimates for this year. In fact, the IEA is now at 1.3 million barrels a day of growth for 2014. So that should result in somewhere between 3 to 4% crude tanker demand growth. And as I said, when you compare that to 1% fleet growth, that means that we should pick up 2 or 3 points in utilization over the course of the year. So what I think will happen this year is that rates will average higher compared to 2013, but at times we will see a fairly low market, but with the chance of more rate volatility, and that when the spikes come, they'll possibly spike higher than in the past 3 or 4 years, and those spikes will last for longer as well. So that's our update on the conventional tanker market, and we'll speak to you again next month.